this first episode of Hit Talks Live. And I am so excited because we have some amazing speakers again coming together to share their stories of hope, inspiration and transformation with you. Now, people say, what is Hit Talks all about? And if you haven't been on Hit Talks before, this we just speaking earlier in the speakers in the backstage. I think this is our 28th episode, and we have had hundreds of speakers that's come together because we've done large mammoth 8-hour live streams as well. And what Hit Talks is all about, Hit Talks is all about bringing amazing people together to share stories of hope, inspiration and transformation. And they do that in 8 minutes. So we have 8 speakers speaking for 8 minutes on 8 different perspectives from the heart. And the energy of today, you know, we're all energy, and, you know, when we align with the energies, that's when magic happens. And the energy of the broadcast of today, we'll talk about it throughout the live stream and throughout the video, but the energy of today is all about us actually flying high like eagles. And that's the thing, 2021 is about all of us stepping out of our comfort zone, perhaps stepping into our power. We are not here in 2021 to play with the ducks. We are here in 2021 to fly high like the eagles. And we have 8 amazing eagles that are flying high, making a difference in the world. And I am just truly, truly blessed. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Hit Talks. My name is Vicky Thomas and I am your founder and host of Hit Talks. We created Hit Talks in 2020 on the 2nd of February 2020, which equals 8, hence the 8, hey? Nothing happens without a reason, as we say. It's called synchronicity, or as Deepak Chopra says, Sanjiv, synchro destiny. So we are actually here for a reason, and you are watching for a reason. All of the speakers are here for a reason, and it's going to be magical, sharing with you stories of hope, inspiration and transformation. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and put yourself up there in the sky, soaring like an eagle, like every single speaker that we have here. So first of all, the speaker that I'm going to bring on is an amazing gentleman, an amazing friend of mine, and has been part of Hit Talks since we started back in February 2020. And Sanjiv has just done amazing things. You can see his bio. I don't like to read Sanjiv's bio because he is more than that. You know, he is literally there out in the world making a difference, you know, working with people to really step into their own power, to be happy, to actually really thrive in leadership and, you know, the power that they have inside of them. Sanjiv, thank you so much for being on our first episode again of Hit Talks Live in 2021. And I now give you your 8 minutes, my friends.
Thank you so very much, Vicky. Vicky and I became very good friends in November of 2020 in Puerto Vallarta, 2019, when we were both invited to speak. And that friendship is very pure, it's very magical, it's very enduring. And I'm actually choosing the topic of friendship, in a sense, for my 8 minutes. So it was the year 1938, and Hitler marched into Austria. In 1938, a study was launched in Boston at Harvard. And you will find it hard to believe, unless you know about this study, that some 82 years later, it's still ongoing. Can you imagine a study that's gone on for more than 8 decades? The funding needed, the principal investigators come and go, people drop out of the study, people die. But this study has gone on for 82 years. And the current principal investigator is a colleague at Harvard Medical School, a professor of psychiatry at Massachusetts General Hospital by the name of Dr. Robert Waldinger. So this is a study called the Harvard Grant Study, also called the Study on Adult Development. And what they did was they took about 724 19-year-olds. 288 were at Harvard College, and the others, 400 plus, were from very poor and dysfunctional parts of Boston. They were in poor and broken homes. There was no running water, but they were all followed. And as of a few years ago, 19 were still alive in their 90s. What happened to this cohort? Some became accountants, some became teachers, some became lawyers, some became doctors. 4 ran for the US Senate. 1 became the president of the United States of America. John F. Kennedy was in this cohort. Some became Skid Row alcoholic derelicts. Some died of suicide. Some developed schizophrenia. But they underwent detailed questionnaires every single year. Physical examinations, blood tests, body scans, functional MRI. Then they started to visit their homes. They interviewed their spouses. They videotaped these individuals talking to their wives about life, about health, about happiness. And what is the major conclusion of the study? The major conclusion of the study is that loneliness is toxic. You can be in a crowd, you can be with other people, and you can be lonely. And that the most important thing for happiness, this has also been called the longest standing study on happiness. I happen to speak on that, write books about it, that the major component of happiness, the opposite of being lonely and that being very toxic, is to have the social fabric and connectedness with friends. Your friends are your chosen family. Robert Louis Stevenson once said, "A friend is a gift that you give to yourself." Khalil Gibran said, "Friendship is a sweet responsibility, never an opportunity." So if people were happy and satisfied with their relationships with friends, and remember, family can be some of your best friends. If they were happy with their relationships with friends at age 50, 3 decades later, at age 80, it was linked to happiness, health, and longevity. And that individuals, couples who depended on each other, trusted each other, they may have fights all the time, but they knew they could trust their spouse or their companion or their dearest friend. They had a much lower risk of cognitive decline or dementia. So social connectedness brings forth joy. James Rohn, a best-selling author, once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Let me repeat that. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose your friends carefully. Friends who have similar core values. And then every opportunity you get to celebrate, small or big, do so with your friends. At every age, we can make friends. My wife, Amita, will often tell me, "You're so happy when you're with your friends." And I made a concerted effort when she and I came from India in 1972, at a very young age, in our early 20s. We were both physicians. I made a concerted effort to make friends outside the medical profession. Because naturally, You're working at the hospital, you meet fellow interns, residents, fellows, and you become friends with them, play tennis with them, go see a movie, go to a restaurant, invite them. And I made a concerted effort to have friends who were lawyers, who were plumbers, who were philanthropists, who were business people. And it's really expanded and broadened my horizons. I've written a book on happiness. It's called The Two Most Important Days: How to Find Your Purpose and Live a Happy and Healthier Life, with a friend and colleague, Gina Wild. She was the Associate Dean of External Communications at Harvard Medical School when I was the Faculty Dean for Continuing Medical Education. And in it, we talk about 4 important tenets of happiness. The happiest people on this planet have 4 things in common: a cadre of good friends. That's number 1. 2, the ability to forgive. If you hold bitterness or rancor in your heart, you cannot be happy. To me, the most amazing example is that of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison. And when he's released, he's asked the question, "Mr. Mandela, do you have a resentment against your captors?" And he gave the most eloquent answer. He said, "I have no bitterness. I have no resentment. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies." So friends, forgiveness. The third one is a quote by Albert Schweitzer, humanitarian, physician, theologian, Nobel laureate, who once said, "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I'm certain of, the ones amongst you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." So I've distilled it into 3 F's: friends, forgiveness, and for others. And the 4th one begins with G, and you know it. It's not God, it's gratitude. You can be happy simply by starting a gratitude journal. And once a week, jotting down notes, reflecting on the 7 days that's transpired, what you're grateful for. Your happiness quotient will go up by an astounding 25%. Randomized study that proved this. But happiness is more than the sum total of happy moments. And in order for us to have sustained happiness, we have to find our purpose and live it. And we can do that by reflecting on it, or it'll come to you. You'll witness something horrific or sad, and then you'll have the fortitude, the grit, the compassion, and the love to say, "I want to make a difference." Next thing, it becomes your life purpose. I'll finish with a quote by Mark Twain. We call the book The Two Most Important Days: How to Find Your Purpose and Live a Happy and Healthy Life. And when you open the book, you find the full quote by Mark Twain, who once famously said, "The 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why." Each one of us has a singular purpose in life. So I'm going to take the liberty of addressing everyone as friends. And I hope you have found your purpose, or you will find it, and that living it will light up every single day of your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjiv. And wow, what can I say? And coming into 2021, or being part into 2021, everyone within this room, you know, it's about being friends, isn't it? That's the thing. It's all about forgiveness. And as you know, just really summing up what Sanjiv says, how if we think about the last year that we've had during COVID and everything that's been going on, how easy could it have us been to kind of really get angry? And I'm sure many of us have at certain points of time, but the more that we step into the gratitude and, you know, the friends that are around us, whether or not we do that in Zoom or we do that through WhatsApp calls and through the messages, you know, it's been amazing having Zoom during this time for us to be able to step out into us flying like the eagles, as they say, which is the context of this Hit Talks is all about, and friends and happiness and gratitude. And so I just want us to really, just every single one of us here live, every single one of us watching the replay, just give an absolutely amazing smile, the biggest beaming smile that you absolutely can. And you know, the more that you smile, the more that your energy is at a higher vibration, and we know that. So let's just give ourselves a couple of minutes and like really smile and get out there. I love smiling. I think it's just one of the best things, you know, just being in a supermarket and smiling at somebody that's really looks miserable, and you see them looking really miserable, and you give them the most amazing smile. They can't help it, can they, other than just to smile back at you, or even just scowl a little bit more. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sanjiv. And when we start talking about bringing amazing people together, and we talk about bringing friends together, you don't really need to know, you know, one thing that I found from being an international speaker and speaking all over the world for many years is that you don't need to be in everybody's pocket at all times. You know, you meet somebody and then you connect. And this is the thing, when you actually know that you're with somebody, and you're with somebody for a reason, and then you connect with somebody for a reason, then magic happens. And this is where we go on to the next speaker, because Dr. Mel, you know, we connected many years ago, but we haven't actually been in contact with each other, you know, very often. And then, you know, I put a call out about speakers on Hit Talks, and she was like, yes, I want to be able to be there. And she's doing so much amazing things in the world. She's really, you know, the team will bring your bio up now, but she's doing amazing things in the world, helping people in humanity, really helping people stepping into their wealth. You know, she calls herself the wealth magnet, and, you know, really making a difference. But she will, you know, you'll be able to check out exactly how she's making positive changes within the world. And you know, when you have the inner feeling that you know somebody's going to be able to come onto your platform that you haven't spoken to for a couple of years, but you know that connection's there, and deep down in her heart, she is really here to give hope, inspiration and transformation to people in the world. And that is what Hit Talks is about. So I'm so glad that you're here with us, Dr. Mel, and I'd like to give you your 8 minutes now, my love.
Thank you very much, Vicky. I am super excited to be part of the Hit Talks and being the first one in 2021. I'm filled with so much joy, and especially coming up from having had COVID, not only just having not only being positive, not only having symptoms, but having an illness of it. So I'm glad to be alive, and I'm so ready for 2021. And my hashtag is hashtag 2021. Let's go. Because I believe that this is the season that we are in, and we have to go. We cannot allow whatever is happening as of now to bring us down. I'm super excited. I want to thank God for Dr. Chopra, who has just spoken before me. Oh my goodness, what an amazing topic that you touched when it comes to friendship, because it is imperative for us to understand that we are one. Because when you're talking about energy, we need to move. When you're talking about eagles, they know how to care for one another. And we are talking about eagles flying. So we need to be in that situation where we step in and we make sure that we are doing things in the right way. I want to thank you, Vicky, for bringing me in this platform. I met Vicky some years back, to be honest, and I am so excited that we have not lost touch. I was in an audience and she was giving some fantastic presentation. I looked at her and I said, when I grow up, I want to be like her. You know, but you know, look where we are today, and we're still growing strong. This is what happens when there is the same energy that is going on. I minister about wealth, and then you had Vicky talk about, I say I'm the wealth magnet, and I have studied about wealth because I used to wonder, why is it that other people are rich and other people are poor? What happens right there? Because I was born and bred in an African country called Zimbabwe. Some of you might know Zimbabwe in the Southern African region, and I was born both. I can say I know how to abest and I know how to abound, in the sense that I know how to live in affluent and I know how to be very poor, right? So, but then my issue when I was growing up, and my question was like, how do we bridge the gap? The gap is there, but how do we bridge it? Because I didn't understand it until I started studying about wealth. And then I came across a point where then the ministration of saying we have been given power in us to create wealth. So the question is, why are we not creating it? It led me to study the brain. And I was like, so if it is the wealth that has been embedded in us, so it's enough already. So then how do we manifest it? How do we exude it? How do we make it to be real? You know, because being brought up by a single mother who was taking care of 5 children, and sadly she passed away from stroke, I got so super worried. And I said, there's something that we need to do. Now, here comes the point. When you feel hungry for something and there's hunger in you, to understand something, the spiritual world is there to give you answers because you are connecting to the spiritual world. You want to know. You are so hungry to understand how things work. It led me to understand the brain. And then I understood that, okay, if it starts from the minds, my mindset, that means I have to change from poverty. I have to move my mindset. Well, not easy because you're living in an environment where the mind is just so mushed because of poverty, because of, things that are just not working right. So now to detach yourself, I now had to study the 3 stages where the alpha, the beta and the theta of the mind, which one time we'll talk about that and we discuss about that mindset where somebody moves from the alpha and goes to the beta, and then the theta comes in, where you now understand how you can speak things to existence because we've been given power in our tongue to speak things to existence, right? So in so doing, I had to go deeper into it. I'm speaking about wealth. I'm the wealth magnet, right? I had to understand how things work. And it's coming from me. I'm not expecting it from somewhere else, but it's coming from right in me because everything now is in me. I have to change my mindset. My heart has to realign and my body. I have to make sure that out of my belly flows rivers of living waters. And what does that mean? What does it mean? Rivers of living waters flows out of my belly. How do I connect to that? Therefore, I was in a state of where I was failing. And when you come to that stage where you're failing, one thing I like is, I remember the work of Zig Ziglar, who says, failure is not a person, it's just an event. It's not a person, it's an event. So therefore, I'm not that girl who used to go to school without shoes. I am not that girl who used to struggle to make sure that there's electricity in the home. I am not that girl. We used to pick up maize cobs to make sure that we make fire, to make our staple diet. I am not that girl. I don't live in that house anymore. The moment you understand you don't live in that house anymore, and you know that you've got power in you, and you've got to exude it out of you, then that's when you connect to the universe. And when you do that, then that's when things start happening. My God. My God. You can get everything in life that you want if only you just help enough people. So therefore I had to jump into that stage where I had to say, I have to move. Now, this is the girl I know. She has to move. I'm a mother of 5. My firstborn is 27 years old. And don't worry about the skin. It's cocoa butter, it's Vaseline, it's cocoa butter. So I could have been a grandma, literally. I'm actually looking forward to be a grandma because I'm actually praying that I'm actually praying that they give me grandchildren soon, so that I can be a grandma. So don't worry about the cocoa butter in the face. So therefore, when I understood that wealth manifests in and out of us, manifestation started happening. I saw myself doing business, opening business in the United Arab Emirates. It's not easy to just penetrate in UAE and then just open a business. And I said to myself, I want to be the best fuel mogul. I want to be this black woman who is saying, I'm taking a stand. I don't live in the house that I used to live anymore, right? I want to be able to take to take this wealth that is here and to put it here and make sure that there is a manifestation and steering even in my community. Because there is need for people to understand that when the mind is tuned, when you move from mindset to mindset, you're all from the alpha, from the beta, you get to the theta. The theta stage is when we talk about, we speak things and speak things manifest and they exist. And that's where we want to get people into. And that's where I'm attuned to. And I'm so glad that God gave me that ability to study about wealth. And I'm so grateful that I'm attuning it. And I'm so glad that at the same time, there are a lot of people that are making great changes and great strides in the community. And my 8 minutes is up. And I just want to say, move from the place where you are. Change, make a change. Desire to understand more. And I want to leave you with the words of Zig Ziglar, who says, if you dance like nobody's watching, and if you sing like nobody's is listening, singing from the top of your voice, we will definitely see at the top. Thank you so much. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, wherever you're connecting us from.
You are welcome. And yeah, as they say, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is actually part of success. And as you know, when we, it's one of these words that I think for majority of us, it's been there in our subconscious from like childhood and generations past and things like that. And it's like, oh my God, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. But, when you look at it, I say it to my children, I said, failure is really, really good because you can learn from those failures. And it really is part of success. And, the more and more that we grow, and people within this community, people within, as Sanjiv said, the five people around you and the people that you've got in your tribe and your community, we're all on the same wavelength of actually supporting each other. I'm sure we've all seen the clips or what they call the gifts and things like that, when you've got people climbing up a mountain and you've got people pulling each other up and helping support. That's the energy that we're going into in 2021, supporting everybody else, people that are failing and people that are falling. Give them a helping hand, pick them up. Don't just leave them there and just think, okay, you failed. This is what I love about the community that I've created. This is what I love about Hit Talks and all the speakers that come on. Every single person is in the same boat. They're there to create friendships. They're there to create abundance. They're there actually to fly high with the eagles, as we say. They're there to actually help other people when they're perhaps down and lift each other up. And thank you so much for those really wise words. And as we we talk about shifting through, about wise words, and we talk about shifting through, the connections of people, when we actually step back and think, who do I know in the world and why am I here? That was one of the reasons Hit Talks was created, was because I asked the divine, I asked the question, what am I here to do? I know people all over the world, from speaking in so many different places. I know all these people, why am I here? And I just got this big download saying that this is what you've got to do. And it was just literally, Hit Talks was given to me like exactly what I needed to do. And then as Sanjiv said that, we met in 2019 and it was hit off as a friendship with Rick Nahara as well, and Sanjiv's amazing wife Amita. And Rick Nahara is coming on to the next Hit Talks. And then he connected me with our next speaker, and she's been on Hit Talks before. She isn't such a big advocate Hit Talks. She's always sharing it. She's always talking about it. And when somebody loves maybe a platform or a purpose as much as you do, that they're your soul guides. That they're your soul friend, your soulmate, your soul team, your soul tribe. And this is what Seshni is, as well as doing amazing things all over the world. And I do love your cookery show that you're doing as well. It's just like really inspiring and making me eat so much more food. But she's really just helping so many people in different ways, talking about helping them, supporting through COVID on radio stations and so much more. And again, all about creating happiness, all about actually making a difference with our vibration, because as I say, happiness truly is a vibration. So Seshni, thank you so much, my love, for being here back on Hit Talks, and I now give you your 8 minutes.
Thank you so much, Vicky, and everyone here at Hit Talks. I am so honored, and I'm super, super excited. I think I'm as excited as you are, Vicky, for this episode of Hit Talks, and to be on this Hit Talks, which is the first one for 2021. What an amazing, amazing gift that I've been given by you to have this opportunity to speak. And I just want to say that I'm grateful to you, Vicky, and to Sanjiv Chopra. As you said, I met through Sanjiv. And the reason also why I'm so excited to be part of this is because the message that you are talking about this year is about a new start and forgiveness. And you must have read my speech, or you must have been a mind reader to know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Because yes, I am an advocate of Hit Talks, and that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, when we do these talks, as I've done before, Vicky always lets us know that we need to talk from the heart and nothing should be prepared or rehearsed. And I was guided by my inner voice, or my intuition, as Nikki Hera says, listen to that intuition, listen to the inner voice. And my inner voice was telling me that today I need to share the message of how Hit Talks actually helped me and transformed me. How Hit Talks did exactly what it says it does, which is hope, inspiration, and transformation. And in these 8 minutes, this is what I want to focus on. And Vicky, I'm doing a disclaimer. Vicky has not paid me to say this. I'm not doing it to gain any more brownie points with Vicky. Vicky, as you know, she probably will say at some point, Vicky, I hope you don't mind, but Vicky usually calls herself the galactic unicorn. But for me, Vicky is an earth angel. And by her having that divine download, as she said just now, and creating Hit Talks, actually, she has created a platform which is absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to tell you how it helped me. So it started off in a quite a sad note, but I'm able to talk about it with happiness and joy, because Hit Talks actually saved me and helped me in a time when I didn't realize I actually needed the help, or I would ask for help. So I lost my mom, unfortunately, quite tragically in May last year, on the 3rd of May. And the first Hit Talks that I attended was on the 23rd of May. And I found out about it through Sanjeev's Facebook post. And last minute, I joined the Hit Talks. And I emailed Vicky after the Hit Talks, and I said, Vicky, I just enjoyed your talks. It was done very last minute, but I'm so glad that I listened to it, and I definitely will join you on the next one. And since then, the 23rd of May, I've been hooked on Hit Talks. And as you can understand, I was going through grief, and being a psychiatrist and knowing all about grief. And it was the most challenging, most difficult time of my life. My mom was in South Africa. I couldn't go for the funeral, and I was stuck in the UK. And so just over 20 days of having lost my mom, I started to hear about Hit Talks, and I was inspired by all the people that spoke on Hit Talks. And I'm going to tell you about each of the things that Vicky talks about: the hope, the inspiration, and the transformation, and how it actually helped me. So going through the grief, as you know, and as I teach to various psychiatrists through my books, I teach worldwide, and we learn about grief and about the Kubler-Ross stages of grief, which is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And I was going through all of that. And so I just heard Hit Talks, and I was in that state. And you can imagine how difficult it was for me. And at the same time, I was doing a COVID update on radio. So I was doing the daily update on Hospital Radio Bedford. And I had to go and show the world my face, and be resilient, and not show how I was actually struggling with coping with the grief. But Hit Talks came to my rescue, and I was given that hope, because that's the first thing you learn about Hit Talks, is about that hope. I mean, hope isn't something which is new to me. You know, even in my field with psychiatry and with my patients, I know we're always giving them that hope. It's about that they can recover from mental health. You know, mental health is a hot topic now. We've heard the very controversial interview by Oprah with Prince Harry and Meghan on the 8th of May. And through that, the 8th of March, sorry. And through that, a lot of people are now starting to talk about their mental health. And mental health does matter. And that's why I'm talking about it as well, because going through grief is part of mental health. And any one of us can go through similar experiences, not just me. I'm sure there's millions of people around the world that have gone through grief or some traumatic experience. And that was what I learned from Vicky's Hit Talks, was the hope that they were giving us, and each of the speakers that came on, which leads me on to the inspiration. You know, as you've just heard from Sanjiv Chopra, I've listened to him so many times that I can listen to him and Amita and Nick here, Nahira, and a few others like Vicky as well. And we've heard Dr. Mel talk. You know, all the speakers, their bios are phenomenal. You know, Nelson Mandela always said that education is the most powerful weapon you can use. And yes, these people that have come on Hit Talk, you know, the hundreds of speakers that Vicky's had on over 24, 28 episodes, they've all had that education, and they all have stories to share, you know, whether it was happy stories or sad stories like mine, which I've just shared about my mom. You know, each of those stories for me, when I listened to them, inspired me to the extent that I was able to pick myself up. Vicky just said just now, you know, if you know someone in the world that's going through a difficult time, you know, this is the show for them. This Hit Talks is so much more than just picking people up. It's also then about, it's not just about hope. It's not just about inspiring, but it's also about transformation. And I remember Vicky talking about the butterfly and how the butterfly goes through the different stages, you know, from the cocoon, and then, you know, the different stages it has to go through, the caterpillar, and then through to a beautiful butterfly. And I can say this is exactly what happens with the Hit Talks. You know, you are able to transform. It is a transformation, and it is a transformation for good. You know, I am living proof of Hit Talks, and a living testimony that Hit Talks does what it says it does. It has given, and it has given me the hope. It's given me the inspiration and the transformation. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I want millions of people around the world to know about Hit Talks and to know the impact that it can have on your life. And hopefully it will be, and it is the next TED Talks. And yes, in conclusion, I just want to say in terms of forgiveness, forgiveness is really important. And I shared with Gina Wild about Hopono, which is a Hawaiian tradition I learned from Doreen Virtue, which is saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And I think forgiveness with gratitude is so important and fundamental in all of hope, inspiration, and transformation. And in conclusion, I just wanted to say that, yes, it's a new year. It's a new start, and it's also about being in the power of the present moment, being in the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle, because as Vicky says, you know, magic happens, and I know for a fact that magic happens, and I'm going to take it as a new year, a new start, about forgiveness, and it's about hope, inspiration, and transformation. And thank you so much, Vicky. My time's up. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to you and all the Hit Talk speakers for this amazing platform. And I hope that Hit Talks will help millions of more people around the world. And I know it has already helped me and so many other people that I know. And thank you again as well to Sanjiv and Amita and Nick Nahira.
Oh, my love.
Namaste.
Yes, thank you so much. I was just like, oh my gosh, it sounds as if I was paying you, but you said that beforehand. But no, honestly, and you know, I want you just, you know, speak about that, because the last Hit Talks, we had a special edition in December because people can run their own Hit Talks and host it and run their own special editions. And then January, February, and up until now, we hadn't actually had one. And the reason behind that was because I was battling whether or not Hit Talks was serving. Honestly, it was, you know, I do a huge amount of inner work, and I was kind of there thinking, you know, we did this massive live stream of 48 speakers back to back where I hosted for 8 hours, from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning, and it was amazing. And there was a bit of a mix up with the marketing and everything with it, but it, you know, that didn't matter. It was just absolutely fantastic. But I had this little bit of a battle saying, you know, oh God, should I be having, you know, 6,000 subscribers, and you know, YouTube's only got this many subscribers. You know how your ego gets in the way, and it's there. And it was just kind of, and you know, working through it was just like, as long as you touch one person, as long as you can make a difference to one person. And when I came back, I thought, you know, speaking to a guy from Egypt who came on from a speaker and was going through huge emotional problems and was so close to committing suicide. And it was a speaker on Hit Talks that literally got him out of that thought process in the 8 minutes. And I was just like, you've got to continue with this. And then the more and more stories started coming back into my brain saying, Vicky, it's not about the masses. It's about touching one person's heart at a time, touching 2, 3, you know, as we say, lifting the people up, and then we'll have a string of people. So thank you so much for sharing that, Seshni. As I say, you know, the whole idea of Hit Talks, you know, you can feel the passion in me and all the speakers. It truly is to serve. It is truly to share stories of hope, inspiration, transformation, because we all have downtimes. Yes, we can all pretend that we're on high vibration frequency all the time, but in all reality, you know, it is ups and downs. That's the flow. That's the energy, isn't it? So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, Vicky. I have to thank you, and I'm glad I shared it because I think it was so important. You needed to hear it, and it's absolutely. You know, I'm an advocate for Hit Talks. I'm not being paid, and I absolutely love you. I love Sanjiv and Amita and Nick Nair and everyone else. So, and everyone that becomes friends and family. So that's what it's about. Thank you so much, Vicky. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you. And you know, and as Sanjiv said when he was actually speaking, it's about friendships, isn't it? And you start to realize you come on to Hit Talks as a speaker and as guests and things like that, then that's what happens. We start creating this tribe, this network, and I just absolutely love it. So thank you for everybody watching here live, watching here the replay, and actually being here in the room with us. So when we start talking about transformation, this next lady is somebody that has transformed, oh my gosh, so much. You know, I've seen her grow from, I don't want to say, yeah, okay, let's say a caterpillar into a butterfly. Now she's actually transitioning from this butterfly into an eagle. Do you know what I mean? It's actually shifting away, you know, from very much like my background, you know, in a different context, but from very, very corporate and then coming across to the spiritual world. She was hugely corporate, and I kind of started, you know, kind of pulling her slightly into more of the spiritual realm, and realizing that you can have the best of both. You know, you don't have to just be in one camp or in the other camp. You can actually mold and play with flow with the two sides. And since then, she has just literally transformed. And Pearl is doing amazing things in the world. She's created her own podcast now at the moment as well. And, you know, we can talk about what she does in her corporate, which we'll say on her bio, but it's more than that. You know, she literally is now bringing women together. You know, she's literally manifesting the women into her tribe to be able to spread pearls of wisdom and be able to spread their messages. So Pearl, I know this is your first time, and Pearl is also doing a special edition as well, which is going to be super exciting. But Pearl, this is your first time actually speaking on Hit Talks, and I know that you've been waiting for this opportunity, and I really, really can't wait to hear your 8 minutes, because I know that you'd love to have 80, but you can't. And thank you so much for being here. Love you so much, and I now give you your 8 minutes.
Thank you, Vicky, and thank you to everyone that is watching, listening now, or on repeat, or when this message comes out to you. It's and I'm doing exactly what Vicky said at the very beginning. You have an idea and you think all day, this is what I'm going to talk about. And then you listen to the other speakers and the message just comes through. And Vicky has always trusted in me. And if you go onto her website and you see the testimonial, yes, I cried, and I promise I'm not going to cry tonight, but it means so much. This wonderful lady had trust and faith in me before I had trust and faith in me. I can remember the first time I ever saw Vicky speak, and she just lit everything up. As soon as you started speaking, that was it. I thought, right, yes, I want to get to know this lady. I want to learn. I want to grow. This is the person I want to become. And I know anyone that's listened to our interviews, I almost turned into a stalker, but it was a nice stalker, because as soon as I'd finished, that day was over and I'd heard Vicky speak, that was it. I went straight onto Facebook, onto LinkedIn, and we connected, and I did everything in my power to work with Vicky. And it got to the stage where every time I was looking for a new contract, and I was doing that climbing and earning more so that I could become a one-to-one with Vicky, and she was my business coach. And from there, literally, I remember that first interview, and there was me travelling back from Westminster, and I didn't get in until 9:30 at night, and Vicky spoke to me at 9:30 and said, these are all these things. And for some reason, I suddenly said to her, I said, oh yes, I've started doing these crystal things. And I'd waved some crystals in the air. And Vicky shared her crystals. And that's when the synchronicities started. And it was just so wonderful to know I'd found that one person that understood me and that could help me grow. So if I go from there, and I know with Hit Talks, because I've watched it as part of the audience, as anyone else that is watching now, and you're sitting watching as part of the audience, hoping and thinking, yes, one day I'm going to be a speaker. And this thought came into my head. What was I going to speak about? And the word trust. That just popped into my head. Well, I say popped into my head, it's my guides. I know my guides, and intuition told me I needed to speak about trust. And this is it. Like I've said, Vicky had trust in me that helped me to grow. So I'm now in a stage where I can do the same for other people. And the fact that the energies of today, of the Mayan calendar, when you want to fly and soar like an eagle, what do eagles have? They have trust. When they first leave that nest, they don't know if they're going to sink or swim, if they're going to fly, but they trust. They trust from that great height that they will soar, that they will grow, and that they won't drop. And this is where I think anyone that you're working with has that. If you can gain people's trust and really work with that and work with that vibration and know that you are the eagle, you can soar, that's how you connect with everyone else. I know Vicky uses the word synchronicities. Between the two of us, we're always saying the S word, because synchronicities, that's when your vibration is of a height that you connect with the right people. That when you want to become an eagle, you then start to meet other eagles, and that's how your vibration goes higher, because you've trusted, you know, and you believe on what you can do. And yes, where I've been going on the spiritual path, I work with my guides, and I will ask them, what is my vision? What is my purpose? What do I need to do? And very clearly, I was told I need to speak for the unspoken. I need to give a voice to each and every person out there that hasn't been heard. I need to amplify that message and give people that voice so that they can soar, they can be an eagle, they can then trust in me like I've trusted in Vicky. People can trust in me and help. We can all soar together, because you don't do it on your own. You, like Vicky says, it's climbing up that mountain. You do it through friendship. As Sanjiv says, it's friendship, it's connecting with people, it's those synchronicities and that vibration and trusting that it's going to go forward. And yes, I did a very, very small post on Facebook from a memory, say about International Women's Day. And I just trusted from one post where I shared I loved speaking for an event 4 years ago where I encouraged and helped young women, young girls to soar like an eagle. Literally, I've now got a whole movement, a whole project where people are coming and sharing their voice through the platforms that I can put out there. And it's just going mad. This has gone global. And this is all down to this one very special lady that told me that I can trust, that I can soar, and I can do it my heart to. And it really is every single speaker that's been before, they've grown and grown and added to this message of soaring. That, as Sanjiv said, it's through friendship. And then he mentioned gratitude. And once you get that you're working from the heart and you start to see that spiritual side, you start to understand law of attraction, vibration and gratitude. And it is where you put that gratitude out there that raises that vibration, so you connect with all those people that need to come to you, that you need to give that voice, that you need to help and nurture so that they can trust themselves to move forward. And every single one of these wonderful speakers and the lovely people that will follow, literally, we've all done that. We've all come together. We're all at the same vibration, or we're getting there, and that's what's brought these 8 people to connection, that vibration where we've all shared the trust. We're all soaring at different levels, and those that are slightly higher, they're actually getting that, they're teaching each of us that are learning to soar from that. And with that, I have this wonderful, I've introduced my really close friend Jo Dutfield, that's going to come on later tonight, and she will share things, and it's given me that chance to put that message out there. I trusted, and I'm now teaching others to trust as well. And I've just seen that time, so I'm going to draw this to a close to say a massive thank you. And I hope this resonates, as Vicky said, with just one person. It doesn't matter about numbers. If one message tonight resonates with you, that's what we were brought to do. That's what we are here to share. And this is how we can all soar. And hopefully I've shared that trust. And thank you.
You are welcome. And yes, Pearl, you are making differences. You are really kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone and bringing people together. And this is, again, you know, when you have, we talk about synchronicities, synchrodestiny, as I say, Sanjiv and Deepak Chopra say, but it's synchronicities and synchrodestinies that giving people a voice. That is the thing. And I just want to share this little story briefly, is that, you know, we've had some really influential speakers on Hit Talks. And I mean, really, really influential speakers, like we had tens of millions of followers. And we had one influential speaker, and I invited this influential speaker back onto the 8-hour episode of 48 Speakers. And this speaker said to me, "It's not hitting enough audience for my energy." And I was just like, okay, well, we're starting out on this sort of thing. And, you know, you work with energy and you're there to help people and lift people up and all this sort of stuff. Where's the congruency? Where's the integrity in that kind of thing? You know, you could have just turned around and said, "I didn't like it," kind of thing. But, you know, when we start, you know, there was no trust in the message. And I don't believe there was any trust in the message in what this person was delivering. And when you actually trust that you're around the right people, when you actually trust that the right people are there to support you, and you trust, honestly, if you trust from here and not so much from there, you know, my background is all about using my logical brain, you know, valuing businesses and being in there with the P&Ls and the balance sheets and occupations and occupancy reports of care homes and bank lending purposes and all this sort of stuff. You know, you have to use this. But in the real world, the more that I've actually used this, my trust and my intuition, the more that I have actually soared like an eagle, the more people around me have soared like an eagle, the more my family have soared like an eagle, and the children. And you just think, why aren't we taught that at school? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, ah! So yes, this is what Hit Talks is about, giving people a voice, whether or not they've got 10 million followers or whether or not they've got 10. You know, if they've got a message to share, and every single one of us has a message to share, then, and if they want to be able to voice it, this is what we want to be able to do, because together we can move mountains. It's bloody hard to move a mountain by yourself. Which brings me on to the next speaker, when we start talking about, again, connections of actually not knowing people. Not seeing people all the time and then being in your field. So Sofia is actually, again, from many years ago when we actually connected internationally, she's making, again, difference in the world. And I always used to say that anyone that came onto Hit Talks had to have a one-on-one conversation with me beforehand so I could assess their energy. That's how I first started Hit Talks. Now I just let the guidance of the universe come. And I know Sofia's wanting to be on Hit Talks quite a few times as well. And she's doing, again, magical things in the world, as well as say, comedy as well. And, that was something that was quite new to me. And I was like, every single one of us has more magic inside of us than you actually care to know. And then when we bring this magic out, whatever context that is, that's when we can make a difference. That's when we can give somebody hope. That's when we can give somebody inspiration. And that's when we can help people transform. So Sofia, I'm so glad that you're here, my love. And I now give you your 8 minutes on Hit Talks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will just put on my timer here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It's so lovely to be here and meet you, Vicky. I know, I remember when I met you because I felt you were very energetic, positive, and I want to talk about this. Yes, share your energy, share your spirit and your life. That is what I feel is coming to me, and that's why I felt, it was many years ago we met, but now is the opportunity to be here and share what will come. I don't know. But I want to share a little. I am born in Bangladesh. I don't know if anyone been there, but when I was 3 years old, I was put on an airplane all alone without my parents, and was flying from Bangladesh all over the world to Sweden. And I got told by my adopted parents during the airplane, when the flight attendant tell everyone to sit down during the flight takes off, you know what I mean? Yeah. The flight attendant or my adopted parents, they told me that I was still standing up in my seat. And that is my metaphor. I try to stand up for myself, listen to my inner voice and follow my passion. And that is what I want to share with you, to inspire you to follow your passion as much as possible. And that is, I'm about talking about the heart. And I'm also going from my head to follow more and trust my heart. How can I listen to my heart's desire and have the courage and trust to fulfill my dreams? And there are many different things, and I want to share also, we cannot avoid this corona, right? We have realized many different things has happened. And I've been working as a nurse at the elderly home as a consultant last summer. And in Sweden, I don't know if you heard on the news, they have they didn't have so much restriction in the beginning as around the world. And I was working here at the elderly home, and all the nurses and the doctors, we got sick, all of us, and about how to handle challenges and different things. And I also got corona, and all the nurses got corona, and so. But I was lucky, I was not serious sick. But to talk about trust and learn different things, I don't have children and I'm not married. And other people who have children and are married, you have someone at home to take care or look after your needs. But here I realize again, as many times, yes, you have to be your own leader or be your own role model. And then it's also important to have your friends. But for me, it's also important to remind everyone, we have to learn to take ourselves first, you know, be our own leader and role model, like in the airplane. If it happen an emergency, you have to put on the mask on yourself, right? And then put the mask on your children and your other passenger. And that is what I like to share with you, is important to take care of yourself first. And I also been burned out, and in this Corona time, maybe many people have been feeling lonely. I don't know about you. And it's also to, I'm jumping different things. It's important. You also have to be your best friend in your lonely times, right? I mean, it's the same, if I do a metaphor, if you travel alone in another country, you have to be your best friend and your role model, and you have to be the hero in your life all the time. And that is, for me, it's important also when life is not going so well and you have some challenges. You have to be there, standing there by your side all the time, and be your biggest fan. Are you your biggest fan? He's allowed to joke and have fun, right? and as I said, I'm a stand-up comedian. It's important to dancing and have fun and be surround yourself with good friends and business people, or yeah, you know what I mean? It's very important. And other things I do as well, I want to share what I do if you have low energy. And maybe many people say, you look so young and energetic. And I say, one of the key is that I'm born in Bangladesh. Yeah. And other things, it's good to look at your feel-good movie, or yeah, have a lot of massage or dancing again, and maybe have a regular sex. Or if you're single, I mean, it's good to have that too. And I want to share also prescription. You know, if you go to the doctor, you can have prescription of medication in different way, but I like to have some other prescription. If I give share motivation, I give you a prescription to create your own superhero. Who is your role model? What's the name of yourself? And my name is, I'm the laughter queen. That's why I'm sharing my energy and my light with you. And that is what I want everyone to share around with each other. And like I say, to be your best friend all the time. And also, during this time I was working as a nurse, I also was trying to keep my other dreams coming through. So I was applying to different TV show in Sweden. I was going to this talent show and doing different crazy things. And people say they don't really understand, but the mind and your ego doesn't have to understand everything all the time. And I don't understand, but I did what I wanted, and that is follow my passion and listen to my heart. And I know I was doing some dance, and then I was doing some stand-up in my show and some other interactive things. And so many people get inspiration by what I do. And that I feel is one of my message, or that is just the way I am. Okay, thank you. And I also do others, yeah, done like stand-up comedy in New York, and I try to follow my guide and follow my passion and heart. What is next? But I don't have a plan. It's this. It's like I am discovering step by step, and that is. I hope you too find your passion and what's going on, and find that its time is passing by now. Yes, I got the message. Thank you anyway. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, my love. I do have to say, I feel quite underdressed. You know, why haven't I got a crown? Do you know, my ego's coming in now thinking, oh my God, aren't I meant to be the important one? Where is my crown? But no, you look absolutely beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that, because as we say, we've all got to have an inner superhero. And the inner superhero, my inner superhero is Wonder Woman. And I've got my little bangles on, but we all have an inner superhero. But the more we actually really do start to, perhaps let's say, do the inner work, the superhero is really you. It's you. You are Superwoman. You are whatever superhero that you want to be. It's just the barriers. It's just the blockages. It's just the limited beliefs that stops you being that superhero. Maybe I can't actually fly. So I've got to be a little bit realistic. But never ever say never. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. And as we say, the more we actually do believe in our future, and we do believe that it's all about fun, it's all about connections, and it's all about actually helping each other, which is the whole context of this episode, is helping each other to soar and fly like an eagle. Which brings me on to my next speaker, because we connected in Costa Rica again a few years back. When you meet somebody and then that your mission is to help people soar and help people fly, however that looks. And you can do that from an energy perspective. I used to do that from a business, well, I still do, but do that more from a business perspective and more of a wealth perspective as well. And then when you do bring in the energy perspective and you do bring in the belief perspective and marry that together, then that's when people soar like an eagle. And Stephen is doing the same. He's literally focused on helping people step into their vision, help people step into their passion, working with energy as well. And literally, the more that we as light workers, as beings, as people on this planet here to make a difference, the more that we can do things together to actually support people that are perhaps not in the right vibration, perhaps not in the right place, perhaps they are, because as I say, we are always fluctuating. I am such an advocate of me continually having coaches that are, that I can actually look up to, coaches that I want to be able to be in their place. I spend a huge amount of money, but it's something that I think is really, really important. Because when you collectively then support each other and you collectively have that bigger vision and thinking, I am not going to stay here as a duck. Do you know what I mean? I am going to be that eagle in the sky. Whatever happens, whatever steps I need to take, I am literally promising myself that no more quack, quack, more, I don't know what sounds eagles make, but I'm not going to even try and make one, but you get the gist, don't you? And that is what Stephen's also trying to do. So Stephen, I can talk for England, but I am now going to give you your 8 minutes, my friends.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. As you can see from my background, we are soaring high. So many different points. First of all, Vicky, thank you. Thank you all of the speakers, and thank you everybody from around the world that is here watching, either live or in replay. And also want to thank my mom, who's here. So a little wave to my mom, and a dear friend who's a true gift, Carlota. Sort of bits of what I wanted to talk about were peppered in a lot of different things that folks have said. So I'm just going to jump straight into it, because I just want to tell my transformation story. And I call it how failure was the pathway to my success. And this story starts back in 2016, where I co-founded a virtual reality studio in Madrid with two very talented entrepreneurs. And we had a tremendous run. In September of 2017, we had 3 productions that had been selected at the Venice International Film Festival, the most prestigious film festival in Europe. And out of 20, we had 3 productions. And one night at 4 o'clock in the morning, we took out a table in the middle of the Piazza San Marco after a night of partying. There was nobody around. We brought pizza, we had Prosecco, and we just felt that the gods were gifting us the plaza. It was too good to be true, and it was. When I got back to Madrid, our funding that was supposed to come through fell out. And we knew that we had to shut down the business. And we had tremendous accolades. I'd even flown Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, to Spain to film a horror VR piece. We had awards in about 40 different selections in 40 different festivals around the world. But I knew we were going to have to shut down the business. And I was nearing 50, married, with a kid. And I was like, it's not going to be easy to get up from this one. In 2012, I had had a big business failure, and that hurt me deeply. I lost a lot of money. Some of my family had supported me and they lost their money. And it was just, I look back now and I was in a very, very dark place. I even remember looking at my little child with tears in my eyes, just wondering, will I be able to provide for this guy? But, you know, I had to shut down the business. I couldn't go down that path. And I've been doing this thing called the Wim Hof method that you might have heard of, the Iceman Wim Hof, that does a lot of cold exposure and breathing. And it had worked for a while, but then I sort of lost the practice. And I was so stressed and I thought that I needed oxygen. So I decided to go that December of 2017 on this winter expedition to Poland, a 5-day winter expedition with Wim. And just after a couple of days of being there, the experience was amazing. I sort of felt like the stress of shutting down the business was so far away. But on the 4th day, something magical happened. That was the day we had to summit Mount Śnieżka. And Mount Śnieżka is a nasty mountain. It's not very tall, but it's very cold. And after 3 hours of trekking up in shorts, bare-chested, I found myself at minus 25 degrees Celsius in the middle of a snowstorm, feeling warm. And I knew there was a physical reality that it was very cold. I felt that it was cold, but I inside was not cold. And that just got me to think, what is cold? And obviously it's a physical reality, but there is an idea of what cold is in the brain. And it is our thermal sensors on the skin that are sending information to the brain about how to react, except we were trained how to override that input. We were trained to reframe what cold was into warm, in a very extreme environment. Obviously, if you stay there too long, it could be deadly. And I was just fascinated by that. And I said, more than cold stuff, can I reframe other things? And I said, I'm going to go back and I am going to close down this business as a success. And with that mindset and that frame, I went back to Madrid and we did the most graceful, successful shutdown of the business. We finished all our productions. We placed most of the employees in great jobs. We negotiated with all the vendors to pay as much as we could and just beautifully closed the business. Our employees are still in touch 3 years later. And rather than jumping into a venture, I went into a deep dive of what I called a software and hardware upgrade of my mind, body, and soul for the next 50 years of life. Because I said the way I had operated before had not served me and something had to change. And I wasn't sure what. And I went very, very deep into all sorts of techniques and methods to hack the mind, hack the body, go deeper into the soul, start to understand the world of energy. And I was really blown away by the simple fact that we all have these innate neurological and physiological capabilities inside of us that are just dormant. And as we start to tap them and as we start to understand them, amazing things can happen. I even put myself to the test with a group of Wim Hof people, and that's where this picture's from, where we went to climb Kilimanjaro bare-chested in less than 48 hours. So we're fighting altitude mountain sickness. We want to get to the top. And we made it, and we were dancing at the top of Kilimanjaro. I was just blown away how it was possible to just change my physiology, change my mindset. So there's 3 learnings from my experience, which is what I want to relay as my bits of my transformation and my bits of hope and inspiration. In the brain, we create reality. And this is not just spiritual stuff that is being sold by gurus. It's actually neuroscience. The brain is able to perceive certain things, but it's actually in a black box. It takes information from our senses, and then we're able to reframe it. We can change it. So we have tremendous power by understanding our belief systems, by understanding what's in our heads to actually shift those, and that changes the external reality of how we perceive. That's how I reframed cold into hot. That's how I reframed failure into success. Then there's the body. The body is a tremendous vehicle to manage our state, our mental state, our emotional state. And it's not just about being healthy, about being fit. Is that if we work the body, we work all of the chemicals, all of the neurotransmitters, all of the hormones to optimize and activate our state. And finally, to me, one of the things that I discovered more recently from a woman that wrote a wonderful book called How Emotions Are Made, that emotions are actually created states in the body. They are not reactions to the world outside. They are projections onto the world. So there's the old Greek wisdom of know thyself. And now the know thyself is about going deeper, is understanding how your brain works, understand how your body works, understand how your nervous system works. And in there are these keys, there are these skills, these techniques, these innate abilities that everybody has to radically transform their life. I am not a mountain trekker. I am not some superhero of any sort. I was a guy in a midlife that if I was not careful, I'd go down a midlife crisis and have a horrible, horrible life. Instead, I flipped it around. I made it a rebirth. And my message of hope and inspiration is that all of us have these innate capabilities inside of us. All we have to do is just start to scratch the surface, and step by step, like climbing a big mountain, you end up soaring like an eagle. So thank you, and my time is up.
Perfect timing. And as you say, soaring like an eagle. I don't know what happens because I don't know. And this is where we go back. Sorry, I wasn't unmuted. And I'm just going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And soaring like an eagle. And this is what we said when we started off this Hit Talks, and every single Hit Talks as well. I do not know at all what any speaker is going to speak about. And people have said to me in the past, Vicky, aren't you opening yourself up? Like, you could be bringing somebody onto your platform and you're going live and this is your brand, or this is, you know, blah, 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 blah. They could talk about anything. And I'm thinking, well, I don't even put that intention out there. I don't attract those sort of people. So I have no worry about that whatsoever. I just know that people are just going to speak from the heart and it's going to go in flow. And, you know, I didn't know that you were going to have that background. You know, you didn't know I was going to talk about soaring like an eagle, and we were going to start talking about trust, and everything kind of flows in. It's just, Stephen, you know, I'm really annoyed too, low vibrational word. A little bit sad because I was meant to be climbing Kilimanjaro in July this year, and unfortunately due to COVID it's never gone ahead. So I can't wait until that happens, because as you say, when you actually give yourself a goal, that actually does make a difference. And you know, you can't do something like Kilimanjaro, which is the whole context we're talking about, without support, without people helping you, without a tribe, without people around you, without you doing the work. And I see it all the time. There's so many people that want to be up there as an eagle, but they don't want to do the work. They want others to do the work for them. And you're just thinking, you know, we have to give ourselves, you have to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility for you to stop being a duck and for you to be an eagle. If you just stay there quacking and expect an eagle to come and pick you up and take you up into the sky, sorry guys, it's not going to happen. And so that is the thing, is that when we actually have responsibility, we have the people around us to help us, and then we have the knowledge, you say, because it's all, you know, it's all science, and then we can start soaring up there like an eagle. So thank you so much, my friend, for your share. Sometimes I think 8 minutes just isn't enough, but as we know through brain science and studies, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, is that's the other thing about Hit Talks as well, why it's at the 8. I didn't know at the time, but people's attention span when they're listening to a certain amount of stories or messages or education, it's between 7 and 9 minutes. That's how you can keep their attention span. So I didn't know that, but obviously the divine did when they told me about Hit Talks. Anyway, let's go on to our next speaker, because when we talk about going with the flow and we talk about transforming, now Roxy is a client of mine as well, and you see the transformation in her. And when you hear about Roxy, and then you hear a story about wanting to commit suicide and all the attempts that she went through, and then you see the light that is coming through her now. Obviously, it's a journey, and there's still journeys that we need to take. You know, life is a journey, and if we continue trying just push towards a destination and not enjoy the now, then what is life all about? It's enjoying the journey, enjoying the failures, enjoying the processes, and learning from them. And this is what Roxy has done, is that she's been at rock bottom and she's learning from where she was, and she's helping others to transform through it as well. So Roxy, I know that you wanted to be on Hit Talks also, and so this is your 8 minutes for you to shine, my love, and I now give you your time.
Thank you, Vicky. So I would like to talk about a different story of hope, inspiration, and transformation, right? One that it is coming from the bottom. A lot of people today suffer from anger and loneliness, and this happens a lot of time in children. So we'd like to talk today about a girl who felt like this, well, since a very young age, since about 11, 12 years old, right? And it was a lot of anger and a lot of sadness and a lot of loneliness involved in it. And as her own mother was in depression, and it was getting down the hill really fast by drinking too much, or by crying too much, or by being lost too much sometimes, this little girl ended up, yes, to feel alone in the world. And at that time, we didn't have internet, and we didn't have stories like this, right? Where you see others that are, that are being able to get out of it, and they're being able to move past the sorrows and the pain and everything that you don't understand as a child. And we have a huge epidemic even today with children trying to kill themselves. And yes, I was that girl who at the age of 19 ended up to commit suicide. And it was not like I didn't have it all. I was very successful. I was already admitted to the university. I was one of the best students. It's not like I didn't have anything, right? I have it all. I absolutely had it all. I had enough money. I had enough knowledge. I had it all. Nevertheless, I was mentally ill. I thought that there is something wrong with me, that pain is going to eat me up right from the inside. And I decided to go to another university. I decided to attend 2 in the same time in Europe at that time. And I went to psychology. I said, okay, psychology is going to help me. Yes, right? I mean, I'm into this deep down ditch that I don't know how to get myself out. My mom has nothing about it. She's more lost than I am, right? I have nobody to help me. Nobody's helping anybody here. So I went to university and for psychology, and to understand that no, we were the most suicidal kids out there, the students. So nobody helped us out. Nobody gave us any hope. Nobody showed us how to fix ourselves. So what do? You just go and struggle with life and just, become a warrior and take it one day at a time. So this is what I did. And I tried multiple times to get out of my depression. Nevertheless, I haven't succeeded. At some point, I even ended up to be suicidal when I was pregnant with my own child, right? And this ended up to be quite plain disaster, right? As, the child had no blame into all of this. And it was, quite devastating, right? For me, it's like, how can I do this when a child is being born? How am I gonna cut off his life in a way, right? How can I do this for myself? So yes, it was a hard time. And now, looking like the eagle down towards my life, I realized that the possibility and the potential was all inside me. Everything was all inside me, except that I didn't know how to unlock it. Except that I thought that I have to go towards life by myself, to fight with life by myself. And I didn't understand at that time that coaching and mentorship and help from another, including friends that they know how to help you, not the ones that they are more in depression than you are. I didn't understand that this is very important. I was not taught like this. I was not, raised like this. I was raised like, you have to take for life, go and fight with it. And yeah, this brought my mother down at the age of 55, dying overnight. And I was seeing by the age of 38 that close to me thinking about how I am going to end up. So after 27 years of depression, and after getting out with mentorship and coaching, not by myself because it's not quite possible, today I ended up to help people out of depression, which is quite extraordinary, thinking that I was the one deep down in the ditch that believed that has no chance and is going to die at 38 overnight because of some kind of NASH, non-alcoholic liver hepatitis, or some kind of panic attack, or some kind of heart attack, or some kind of diabetes coma, as I was pre-diabetic. So yes, the potential is all inside us. But a lot of times we can't do it ourselves. We really need some help from people that can help us out. Some of them mentors that have been through depression, right? Some of them just coaches that they haven't been through depression, but they are actually pushing you every day to do more and more and more. And this is how we can actually succeed to reach our own potential. And everybody out there that suffers from anger and loneliness, like I did, that suffer from depression and anxiety, yes, it is possible to get out of it. It's possible to get out of it in weeks and months if you have the right guidance. If you're trying to fight this with yourself, you're just going to wear yourself down and collapse. So thank you, Vicky. This is my story of hope, inspiration, and transformation that's possible for every one of us.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. And, you know, sometimes it's not easy for people to really share their stories. And again, vulnerability is something that can really help people. Being vulnerable, and this is something that I really struggled with, because I was always put on a stage and I was always put on a, let's say, a pedestal, and because of my positions within my corporate where, you know, I always got myself to the top, I always felt that I could not be #weak, you know. So who's feeling this? You know, who's been there that you think, I can't show my weakness, you know, I can't be vulnerable and things like that. People aren't going to look up to me. People aren't going to respect me. Bollocks to that. Do you know what I mean? The more that I don't think I've ever sworn on Hit Talks before. But the more and more that I actually just start relaxing into knowing what my destiny was, knowing that I'm here to serve, knowing, you know, just kind of just relaxing, that's the thing. Then the more that I was just like, just be you, just be true. Do you know what I mean? Don't start pretending to be somebody else. And there's so many people that I'm sure you see them in your friendship groups, or you see them in your tribe, everyone watching it. I'm sure you can pinpoint somebody that you just think, they're not real. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, maybe I don't know, or maybe I do know, or maybe I don't know, or maybe I just feel it and things like that. And just the bottom line, if there's any advice, is just be you, just be real. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of, yes, just if you want to cry, cry. If you want to scream, scream. Do you know what I mean? Tell the story. So thank you for being vulnerable. It really is what we are about. Is the more that we can share our vulnerability, somebody will think, oh my God, I felt like that, and I don't have to feel that way. As I say, we have people in this platform, in this network, in this world that can help pick us up. And when you were talking about, you know, all of this and about flying like an eagle, you know, when it's raining and we're in a storm, okay, so, and we all go through storms. So we're going through this stormy time. Do you know, an eagle is one of the birds that actually does not seek shelter in a storm. It just flies high above the clouds. So an eagle, you know, it's all raining and everyone else is getting soaking wet and they're all in this drama and storm. But the eagle says, thank you, goodbye, and just goes straight above all of it where it's dry. And this is the thing, this is what we can do as humans. This is what we can do when we're in a tribe, is that we can just get above the clouds and let all the rain and all the shit and everything else that is going on around us be down there. And that's what we're about, soaring like an eagle. Thank you so much for sharing. So it brings us on to our final speaker of this amazing episode. And again, we're talking about connections, we're talking about friendships, we're talking about people that are actually making a difference in the world. And so I have never, ever spoken to this lady before. at all. And it's just like, you know, again, I'm going back to people saying, you could be bringing people onto your platform. You don't know who they are or what they're doing. I trust and I follow guidance, and I just know. And especially when they're introduced by amazing people like Pearl. But the more and more that I kind of started tuning into Jo, I know that she's an eagle with us. You know, she's flying, she's there flying above with us. She's there to actually help and support. And when you know that you've actually got a soul sister, as I said before, and a soul tribe in somebody, then give them the platform to be able to share their stories of inspiration, because that's what we're about, is sharing stories so we can touch one heart, 10 hearts, 100 hearts, 1,000 hearts, 1,000,000 hearts, whatever it is. So Jo, welcome to this episode of Hit Talks. I hope that you've enjoyed it so far. And I now give you your 8 minutes, my love.
I've really enjoyed it. I've loved listening to everyone else's inspirational stories, and I just want to say thank you for inviting me on, and also to Pearl for introducing me. And I just want to ask everyone who's watching, just trust me for a moment. I'd like everyone to just close their eyes. And as you close your eyes, I'd like you to imagine continuing with everything else you've got to do today without being able to see. And maybe going through tomorrow without being able to see. And what about going through your week ahead without any sight at all? And then as you open your eyes, the reason I've got you to do that is because on the 5th of January 2009, I lost my sight suddenly. I was 36 years old, my daughter was 7, I was married to a lovely man, I still am. And from the outside, I had a really perfect life, a wonderful husband, a beautiful home, a responsible job. I was a house mistress at the boarding school and the most gorgeous child. And yet I was sat on the sofa watching her dance, and the middle of her body was missing. There was just black. And as time progressed, I was losing more and more of my sight. And so, cutting a long story short, after seeking medical attention, it was decided that I would need an operation. And the condition I was born with is 1 in every 5 million people. It's so rare that to find a doctor that even knew about it would be a miracle in itself. But I did. And when I went to the West of England Eye Hospital in Devon, the man that actually attended to me, Mr. Ling, my hero, was an expert in my condition. And he looked at me and said that I would be safe. He told me that although there was less than 1% chance of me seeing again, that there was still a chance, there was hope. And he asked me to have faith and trust in him. And so that first operation I had was 9 hours long. He told me it was like peeling chewing gum off of tissue paper, and that I shouldn't keep my hopes up, that I should prepare myself, get my affairs in order was the word, because it was most likely that I would never see again. And I fell to the floor when I was told. It was the most shocking and devastating thing that anyone could have said to me. And it's not until your sight is gone that you realise how little of life is open to you. And that's the frame of mind I was in at that point. Fear, terror. I was lucky enough to have support from my husband and my daughter, as little as she was, and close friends and family. And they basically kept me upright. And so the next day, it all happened very quickly, I had this operation. And when you have your retinas have surgery on, and this operation, I was told I was the first person in the world to have it. I had to sit upright, but with my head face down in what looks like a padded toilet seat. And I had to do that for 23 hours a day. I was allowed a toilet break once an hour. So they put me in a cubicle on a geriatric ward with a sign saying, "Do not disturb." And I sat in an upright chair. I wasn't allowed to lay down in the bed, and I didn't for 6 months. It ended up being a year, but initially 6 months. And I'm in the dark. My eyes are bandaged. We don't know if the operations worked. We wouldn't for 12 weeks. And I was alone. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. My family had gone, and I was left to posture. I couldn't take any medication because I'd been so violently ill after the anaesthetic. So I had paracetamol as painkillers. And if I tell you that I had bands sewn into my eyeballs, the inside of my eyeballs removed and filled with water, and about 400 incisions on my retina with laser, you'll realise that the pain threshold was really being hit. And I started to pray. And I wasn't a religious person. I didn't have a faith. I didn't have a God as such. But I was praying. And I don't know who I was praying to, but I was praying. And all of a sudden, having no sight whatsoever, I saw the brightest light. And this light shone through me and around me. And I was first initially confused and worried because I couldn't see the light. And then a voice came. And this voice spoke to me. And it told me that I would survive. It told me that I would see. It told me I would have to go through 4 years of ordeal. But if I trusted myself, and if I held on tight, and if I had faith, that I would see my daughter's face again. And to be honest, that's all I cared about, was seeing her. And at that very moment that happened, an incredible sensation went through my body. And that sensation was surrender. I decided that I had no choice. I couldn't change my outcome. I couldn't affect it. I wasn't the surgeon. I couldn't touch my eyes. There was nothing I could physically do. But what I could do was trust. What I could do was have faith in my surgeon, have faith in my own ability to heal, have faith in whatever that energy was that was making connection with me and supporting me at that very moment. And that first operation led to 3 months of posturing. If you can imagine, 23 hours a day, face down, not sleeping in a bed. I was on very strong medication. And what happened was, from somebody who lived on the outside, who, as a person, I was focused very much on what was happening externally, I was forced to go within. And I had to go within to find a way to survive, to find a way to strengthen that faith, to find a way to be the person that ended up with sight at the end. And so that's what I decided to do. I used music, classical music, as a way to focus my mind. And I went on a journey inside. I looked for all of the things inside me that needed to be released. There were tears, there was anger. I had complicated conversations with some people. I had to face my limitations and my disability. I couldn't even use the bathroom on my own. I had to learn to navigate my world whilst being inside my body. And it was something that I'd never really done before. The resilience that I found surprised everyone, I think, especially me. So my message to you is that the best thing you can do to heal yourself is to go within, to release the worries and the fears and the tensions, and find a way to find bliss. And the way for me to find bliss was to let go of everything, to surrender, to trust and have faith in the process I was in, and know that ultimately whatever I was going through was meant for me at that time. Now, I was lucky. In 2013, 4 years later, most of my treatment ended and I had sight. I had 90% in my right and about 60% in my left. I can't see faces like you do, and I can't see detail. Don't get me to draw a straight line. But I can see the sky. I can see my daughter's face. I can see her smile. I can watch my friends. I can see wildlife. I can see birds, one of my passions. And I can live an enriched and truly wonderful life. And the biggest thing that creates that for me is the fact that I realized that I had to be within myself in order to be myself. And so I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my story. And I wish you all the very best in everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, my love. And what an amazing story to end this episode of Hit Talks on. I want to be able to say to you that we are so proud of you being vulnerable and sharing this story. You know, we've just literally had the conversation about how being vulnerable can really make an impact and change people's perspectives. And you know, everybody that's watching this live, everyone that's watching the replay, you know, you don't have any excuse. That's all I'm saying, okay? You know, that we've all been through trials and tribulations. But I want to say, Joe, thank you so much from the bottom of your heart for sharing that story with us, because that's the thing. It's motivation. It's giving hope. You know, you had hope, and the hope was to see your daughter's face again. And that's a massive inspiration. You know, that's a massive goal, to be able to have that hope. You know, there would have been, you know, your inner work for you to be able to go in and just really transform the whole of your thought process, the whole of your being. So it's just literally transformational. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then as we say that, I just want to be able to, just before we finish, because we still are on live, is I want to be able to put everyone on gallery and turn your videos on if you can, because I've been asked by somebody who is quite influential, who's come on to one of the other Hit Talks, for us to have a photograph. So if you're here on the live, I would like to be able to see your lovely faces. So please turn your lovely faces on, and then we'll be able to get this photograph off to this inspirational person in the USA, who I will announce who's coming on to one of the next episodes. So again, thank you so much for everybody that's here. Thank you so much for everybody that is watching the replay. And I would also like to say to the speakers, from the bottom of my heart, is you are truly inspirational. And you being able to make a difference in this world by sharing your stories, for you being part of Hit Talks, again, I want to be able to say thank you so very, very much. And for everybody here that is live in the Zoom room, we are giving you the opportunity to stay on after this episode is stopped going live. This will be cut out of the video editing, don't worry. So you'll be able to stay on, and then you'll be able to have questions and answers with any of the speakers here in the Zoom room, if the speakers are happy to stay on. Edit that out. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here on this episode of Hit Talks. It is truly all about hope. It's about inspiration. It's about transformation. Now, the Hit Talks is worked around the energy. So we actually decide on which days we actually go live. So it's not every single Friday. It's not every single 2 Fridays. We don't work like that. We work with energy. We work with flow, and we work with guidance. So our next Hit Talks episode is on the 21st of April. And the reason that we're coming out on the 21st of April is because it's, again, another magnetic Mayan energy day. And so please join us on the episode of Hit Talks on the 21st of April. But before that, we are actually doing a special edition. And that is one of the amazing things I love about Hit Talks, is because I am actually hosting Hit Talks, as you see here. I am your founder and I am your host, and I am introducing the speakers, and I decide on which speakers come on each episode. But Hit Talks isn't all about me, and that was something that was told to me. Vicky, get your ego out the way. This is bigger than what you are. So what we do is that we actually have special editions, and the special editions is where hosts come on and they choose their 8 speakers, and they become me. They, the one that actually hosts the show. They literally have the fun. They actually bring the speakers in and they share the transformation. And our next special edition is actually on the 11th of April. The 11th of April, where the amazing Pearl Cox is going to be our special edition host, where she is going to bring in to Hit Talks her 8 amazing speakers, and we are going to run the whole process. The Hit Talks team does everything in the background. Pearl just needs to do what I do, just sit back, enjoy it, have fun, and just talk, and it's magic. So I'd like you to put those dates in your diary, because they will truly be transformational. And, you know, again, we talk about energy, and we talk about flow, and we talk about synchronicities, about everything happens for a reason. I decided to run this Hit Talks today because it's the 24th of March. And the 24th of March is my mother's birthday. And I haven't seen my mum since I was 14. She left me very, very early. And, you know, without me going into the story, I am going to be one of the speakers where I can share it. It was quite dramatic. And she died 3 years ago, and I didn't get told that she had actually passed away 3 years ago. And I've only just recently found out her grave, which is unmarked, nothing there whatsoever. So I found out about that, and I found out about the grave that's been there for 3 years with no headstone, nothing whatsoever. So I'm in the process of sorting all that out. And then it was like the first Hit Talks of 2021 I want to have on her birthday. So this is why I chose this day. And then when I was going through the energies of Pearl's Mayan energy to see which was the best day for her to run her Hit Talks, it was the 11th of April. And she said, do you know, Vicky, that is my mum's birthday. And I was like, do you know, when you work with energy, you can't make it up. You really, really can't make it up. So anyway, guys, I would love to end it here. No, sorry, I would love to carry on, sorry, but I do need to end it here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the replay, being part of Hit Talks Live, and I can't wait to see you the next episode. My name is Vicky Thomas. I am your founder and host, and please, 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 soar like an eagle. Don't play with the ducks. Soar like the eagle, fly high, and make a difference in the world. As we say, we can move mountains together. It's difficult to do it alone. Love you.